Good morning, everyone.
Good
So
morning.
as Jennifer just said, what I'll do is I will click as Kathy kind of voices over what I'm going to do live. And if you have the PowerPoint printed, great. If you have it alongside the presentation, wonderful. But you'll be able to look back and reference exactly what we did step by step, hopefully live this morning. So the first couple of steps are really no more than just access to it. So how do we even get to Engage CRM? There's, as with everything on the dashboard, there's a couple of ways. You can go over here to Engage CRM right along Real Scout, click on that, and then it'll open up the next window and you will want to launch Engage over here. The second place that you could do it is underneath, underneath Agent Tools, is the fourth one down, fifth one down. Under the COVID Agent Resources, you would click on Engage CRM over there.
Hey, Gwen, before you dive too deeply, if anybody has any questions, because it's a small enough group, just unmute yourself and shout it out.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. We should begin by explaining to you why this PowerPoint was created. Gwen and I teach here in the Syracuse area, and we noticed that an awful lot of agents would come at us and they would be in all stages of development for this. So this 62-page PowerPoint was a brainstorm of a weekend, just trying to figure out how to get people to go from point A to point B and on down through it. And it's like a Cliff Notes. Okay, it's got your primary points. It's got, the characteristics of for what that point is and what you would do to get through it and move you along. What order people are going to adopt the CRM in is really going to be based upon each individual and how they want to pursue their business. So what we're going to do is just kind of take you through what are we considered the normal stages of, getting up and running for the program. It involves so much stuff that even with this cliff note here, you will find that there are more areas that need to be covered down the way, but it's at least a good point. I will confess, I never read Grapes of Wrath. I went and got the Cliff Notes. So this is what got me through that term paper. So this is what we hope is getting our agents through understanding the CRM. Okay.
Absolutely. And adding to that, what we've determined is that particularly with Engage, and there's so many pieces to Engage, that I would suggest that you use the PowerPoint presentation to, sit with an agent or to explain to the agent about that particular area. So if they're interested in setting up campaigns, you reference that portion of the PowerPoint, but also utilize, and I don't know if you can see my cursor rolling around the screen, but there's all these videos that are created for each one of these things. And just campaigns alone, there's 3 right here across the top. Reference those as well, because they certainly go in depth and they're going to walk you through step by step on how to set up a campaign.
Great.
Okay. I don't have the slides in front of me, Kathy, so I'm just going to go ahead and launch Engage.
Yep, and launch it. And you'll go to the agent.
Okay.
All right, so this is the main screen that's going to be hitting you every time you log in as an agent. All right. The top navigation bar in green, obviously, is the one that would take you back to the GoHanna dashboard, and that's not the one you want people to concentrate on. The grayed out dashboard is the one, and if anybody wants to get back to this main screen, they would always hit the word dashboard, and that's what would bring them to it. The order on the left-hand side is on the right-hand side, the activity feed, the stay and flow. Those can be moved up and down and into any order that you feel you want to put them in. All right, and then it will be reflected on the main screen. The stay and flow is going to have about 4 or 5 people pop up that have recently come on board, and it's just telling you, what do you want to do with these people? These are a recent activity, you know, reach out to them or just skip it and mark it done. I don't want to deal with them at all, but this is here for people to know what to do. From this screen, yeah, so you can see that the things can be done right from here. And this is where the agents, as we go through it, need to play with it, decide what they want to do. And we're going to go into greater detail about that. The first thing we tell people to do is to go up by their picture, and the caret by their picture up here is what's going to take them into the inner workings. So you click on that and you want to go down to My Account. And from the My Account, you basically want them to just to review their information. They should, you know, check their profile to make sure that the information is correct and that their primary office is listed and who they are and what they are. And you can go on down through the line, Gwen, and hit Office on the left. And that's just, now if you have people who are, some people are in 2 MLS systems, so they have login rights to both MLS systems, they can add an additional MLS system into this. And I think that we would get to that under the account settings next. Okay, so I think, yeah, this is where go, yeah. Let's see, is that the one? No, go back, I guess go back to your profile and go down. I guess it was down there. See, even us, we get confused.
Well, they've certainly changed some things,
Yeah,
because it used to say which board that they were pulling the feed from a lot of this. And we always like to point out that even though it says Buffalo Niagara, that was okay, because we're all part of the alliance for the MLS, you know, for our various MLSs. So that they just had to choose one MLS to be able to pull that feed from, and they happened to choose the one in, you know, the Buffalo Niagara board, but not to be alarmed by that. So yeah.
so basically I would just say go on down to the offices, just go into account settings. If you click on account settings, that's rather interesting that has disappeared. I don't understand.
It's not even, it used to say MLSs over here, and
Okay.
it doesn't even have that anymore.
All right, so let's just move on and go down to actually agent tools, which is further down. And basically what these agents are going to see is listings and promote. Now, we all see when we log into the dashboard that advertisement for us to be able to do something. It says promote your services. This is where it's going to bring you to. It will actually bring you down to the other word that says promote. But this is when an agent comes in here, they can make sure that their listings are getting onto the CRM. So Gwen's got active listings. Green means it's active. Gold means it's under contract. Okay. They can, from this setting right here, really quickly do a couple of things by clicking on the 3 little dots. And those 3 little dots will enable them to do a listing announcement out, to promote the listing, or create a flyer. It's the same flyer that would be in the Howard Hanna presentations. It's just that when it's created here, it is not saved. All right. They'd have to save it on their hard drive on their computer, whereas in
that's a very important point. So unlike if you create a flyer for a particular listing over in Hanna presentations, and you did an open, you took it to your open house, or you were creating it for your open house, but then 2 weeks later, you're going to do another open house. If you would have created it in here, it won't save it. You'll have to create the flyer step by step again. However, if you do it over in Hannah Presentations, it will save it over in there, and you'll just have to go in and hit print.
Okay. Gwen, go back to your listings. So the other thing that people can do right from here is they can basically click on the three things and do a listing announcement or promote your listing, hit promote your listing. So basically you're going to create an ad here. And let's say I wanted to do an open house. Like, I just want to make sure that this gets out to people outside of my Facebook account into other areas. I can promote this. So I can come in here, I can create all of this information. I can go down, and I want to make sure that I click on that little square that says include my name and my photo. And Gwen, if you go back up to the top of the page, you can see a preview of what this looks like right there. Gwen's advertising this land, it's open, stop in and see it, whatever, but it's got his name and face on it. If he clicks onto the purple next, it'll bring me to what do I want to advertise this for? How much? I can advertise it for as little as 3 days, which would be a great open house. But I also can do it for as little as $49. Okay. And I'm going to say, where do I want this to go out from? I can choose my target, either the address up to 50 miles from the address, or I could choose it from a city. So if I had an open house, my turf is, Liverpool, I might want to advertise all of this in Syracuse. And then I would want to click, he's going to pull up his town, and then I want to calculate my reach. How many people am I on the right-hand side calculating my reach? Who am I going to get? I'm going to get, for $400 for 3 days, I'm going to get 20,000 plus people. Not bad. But if I was doing an open house, I might just want to do, a smaller group of people and try and get them to be aware of this. This is pay as you go. So this can be associated in the prior screen to the homes.com Facebook account that we've got going, or you could even get it affiliated to your business page. So you can make the decisions on what you're doing. I've done this, did it help? I don't know, but at least I can show that I'm getting something out and about greater than just my own Facebook page. And this program will keep track of all your ads, so that at the end of the year, you can print out where you advertise, and you have it for tax purposes. So it does keep track of everything for you. Go on back and go on down to promote. Now, like I said, that advertisement that we see every single time we open up the dashboard and it says promote your services, this is the screen it brings you to. So it's bringing people here to say, what do you want to advertise, a listing or a service? So I would click on service, since we already know what the listing does. And it's pretty much the exact same thing. You can create a description for what you want to do. You could say you're the hometown expert, or whatever, hire me. It already comes with some built-in headlines. If you hit that caret, it'll tell you right there on the second line what you could do, but you only have so many characters. So you can't go on forever. You only have 125 characters in the description, and you only have 25 characters in the headline. But again, if you go down, it'll ask you, what do you want to do? Destination page. I would put your website in here. This is why I tell all the agents, you want it to go to your search, your website. So my website is obviously KathleenWalton.HowardHanna.com. That's where you want them to go. And then choosing an image. Well, let's say in Skinny Atlas, where I sell also, I have a lot of Victorians. So I pick up a Victorian picture and put it in there and say, hey, I'm a Village Victorian specialist. Here's my website at Howard Hanna, and include my name and picture, and boom, I'm ready and set to go this out. to the next place. The reason Gwen does not see his next in purple is because he has to fill in his destination page. You'd have to put Gwen, and you'd have to enter all the text for this.
All right, so I've got a crazy question, Kathy. Is this, so when we pay, is that for boosted Facebook post?
It's
Like, where
not
does the
your
ad go?
posting. You're going out to homes.com right there, homes for sale, which when you click on that, that is the homes.com, and you can change it to go over to, so it's homes, it's facebook.com homes for sale, which I believe is the Howard Hanna site. Okay. And then you could add your own Facebook page or change it. Okay, obviously you can boost your own stuff for a lot cheaper than what we're doing here, but this is to, I'd say, boost out a listing that maybe has been stagnant and get it out to a realm of Facebook people that you don't have a connection to. That's how I'd promote it. Gwen, if you wanted to do it, you'd have to just fill in the additional text up there, just put MMMM, whatever. And then now it's purple, and now you can go through the exact same steps, $49 or $400 for 3 days to 3 weeks. And from here, do I want to do it from the office or a city? So I was doing Victorians in Skaneateles, so I went from the city, and then I calculated my reach. So so this is what the agents see every single morning that they're logging into the dashboard. They're seeing this scenario. Do you want to promote your service? And that's what it is right there, a big green bar that says, do you want to promote your service? So this is the page that it brings them to, and they're going to calculate what their reach might be. Okay. And it's pay as you go. It's not going to be a reoccurring, ongoing, forever and ever ad. And so you just got to put in your payment each and every time you want to do this. Okay. So I mean, it's a nice aspect to it. Do I have analytics on what kind of feedback? I'm not positive, but it's an option, and it is getting your stuff out to a different audience, so to speak. Okay, so what the CRM, let's go back to what is the basics of the CRM, and you can go back to the main screen, Gwen. The purpose of this is really, it's only as good as you make it, okay? And the purpose of this CRM is to walk you through various of your programs that we have there. So how do you get to these programs, such as the marketing, the buyer, or the seller plans? And you have to customize them, because right now they're not going to do anything for you all willy-nilly, because they were filled in when the program was launched. It was filled in with a lot of stuff in an incomplete order, and it's frustrating to look at it. And really, you just basically have to go to it and eliminate it. So you have to basically be on the main screen. You go to the gear like he did. You go to engage settings, and now you are in the preferences where you are going to create your CRM to work the way you do. So the main thing you want to go down to is the task manager. And like I said, this program here, it comes up, and if you could lower your screen, Gwen, there's 4 plans. There's leads marketing, there's a marketing plan, then there's the buyer plan and the seller plan. The sales plans are the ones that have the various zones: active, pending, and closed. Okay, these are the ones that you really would prefer your agents to get involved in. But they're going to have to decide what this plan of action looks like, and they're going to have to play with this. And I recommend that they read through what these things are. Now, if a person in this program right here is a prospect, or it's just somebody that Gwen's marketing to, 7 days after he sent out an email to them, he might want to say, that he's going to, which one do you want to settle on? That
Okay. We'll go with marketing plan, just like the PowerPoint.
So here's the marketing plan that we basically talked about. If somebody came into your system, what do you want to do with these people? So do you make sure that they're hooked up onto, neighborhood news, which is the second thing there, but I would move that from day 15 to day 1. And these people just have to basically hit the change the date, forward it up and down as to what day they want with the carrot or do that way. And boom, now it's like their activity number 1. And, you just basically have to have people take the time to do this to make this look like their activity. And if there's something in here, that they don't want to do, they just X it out. The red X just makes it, it's not going to be done. I'm not calling them on day 3. And basically I'm going to take them through it. If you remember on the, there was a gentleman who had set up people and they were in this marketing plan, and he just has it automatically set on for people to come into this system, into the CRM, and they just automatically get the neighborhood news sent out to them. That's not a bad idea. People can unsubscribe if they want to and walk away from you, but at least by putting them in automatically, you're getting them some pertinent information if they're looking for a house.
That is
So-
a setting that you can do from campaigns, and yes, it's just a couple of clicks and it sets up. So anytime you've got a new lead that comes in from the various sources, it'll automatically enroll them in that.
What Gwen had mentioned earlier is that CRM Resource Center, besides those big green squares that were at the top that showed you the campaign stuff, if you lowered down the screen, there are a bunch of tutorials. And they're little mini websites, web tour explanations on this resource in particular, how to do the task, how to set up your clients, how to do any of that. So, going back here, if he just scrolls down, every single one of these little green things here is how to do something, how to get a campaign running, how to set up a campaign, how to get your engaged subscription set up, how to do anything. And it's really great. And this should be the first thing that your agents go to besides knocking on your door. Okay. So we pretty much go back to the plans, and let's go to just either the buyer plan or the seller plan, just so they can see it. So it hits the gear, engage settings, so it brings you back here. Once it's up, he hits task manager and he's there. And then go down to, I think I was on the buyer plan on the screen. So if you're going to customize the buyer plan, if you notice, and this is where the screen, up at the top, you have a green bar that has prospects, and then it has active tasks and pending. Each one of these has a different program. So if you notice, there are 13, well, go back to the active tasks, there are 13 tasks in 41 days. And I'm going to tell you, most people are not going to be working with a buyer for 41 days, because if they are, you're hoping you're closing by that time. But this is where you would make this in the correct order. Obviously, if you're working with a buyer in the active zone, you're not mailing them a gift right now, but you would schedule the buyer interview, maybe create a buyer packet, schedule some stuff. So you're going to move that mail a gift maybe, to 25 days, 45 days, or you're going to remove it totally, because I ain't doing that until it's closed. So this is where, people really need to come in here and make this work for them. If you go to the next zone up at the top, it's the pending, and it's the same thing. Now under pending, if I move somebody from active to pending, I've got 24 tasks to be done in 42 days. I'm going to say I would rather my pendings take place in 30 days. Okay, if I'm making a listing go from active to pending, it's because I've got financing is in place, contingencies have been removed, and therefore I'm not doing this for 42 days. So, pending, I've already got the inspection done and over with. So you may want to move these activities, delete them out of here completely, and make them active. This zoning, the prospects, the active and the pending, they all have to reflect how your agents do their business. And this is the most time consuming aspect of this CRM. If this doesn't work the way they work, they're never going to use the program. Now, I'm going to tell you, we probably know top agents who are never going to do the CRM.
Hey, Kathy, I
That's
think Liz,
fine. Thank
I
God
think
it's getting.
Liz has a question, Kathy. Liz, why don't you just unmute yourself?
Go ahead.
Hey, two questions. Can we have more than one buyer plan? Like, can we have like 2 or 3 of them, or can more so can we have more than one marketing plan? Or is there only one marketing plan allowed?
There's only one marketing plan right here, but if you notice the green bar where it says add a task, if Gwen
Okay.
hits the green bar there, these are all kinds of activities that were created from the companies at the time. I think it was 8 companies in the Howard Hanna family, and they reached out to top agents who said, well, this is what I do, this is my activity. So all of these things can be created to your specific buyer plan. But I know what you're saying, only one plan of activity. But then again, you can go into each of your people.
And customize it for them?
I think so,
After
yeah.
I think so too. Also, as managers, you know, because we're very bored, are we allowed to go into each agent and customize their plans for them through our system, or do we have to log in as them?
You'd have to log in with them. You don't have that kind of access to their people.
That is a
Thank you.
wonderful question, Liz, and I think I know where you're getting. If we don't do it for them, are they ever going to do it? And Kathy and I have talked an awful lot about this, and our entire region has, and we're not, because this is so cumbersome, we're convinced that they're not going to.
Yeah.
So what we have done is we've created a start to finish checklist of absolutely everything, more referencing the Hanna tools, and starting at day 1 from the listing, or actually day -2 of a listing, working them through all the way through the listing process until they're under contract. So my recommendation is you would create something like that that's pertinent to your office, because every one of our offices in every market works so slightly differently.
Right.
I would create that, and then go in, maybe work with each agent and show them how to do that until we can convince Moxie to make this customizable per office. I'm just not sure that we're going to have that clout.
And so I can't do mine and then just say, okay, I'll apply this to everybody else. Does everybody has to do it as a customization?
Currently, no,
Yeah.
we can't.
Yeah.
So I have a quick question, if I may. Are these templates, or do you have to do it for each individual potential client?
No. Once you set your marketing plan to be as basic as you want it, it is the marketing plan that will be used in your CRM for everybody that you put into a prospect, active, or pending task. Okay.
So I don't know who asked the question, but the way I understood it is, I didn't actually create this plan. So this was defaulted per what Moxie has looked at nationwide, or for all of its broker clients, as probably a template, as you mentioned, in the tasks that should fall on that. Then it's up to us to customize it, as we showed, what days these tasks would fall on, or if you wanted to add tasks, and they've got more tasks over here, which is that. And then if it doesn't show up on the list, you can actually customize something, so if there's something that you do in your marketplace, some sort of special advertising or whatever, you can click on new and then give it a short name. So we actually advertise on a website called News Junkie. It's a news feed that everybody gets their news from here. We might want to put something like that in, and then I would want to do it on day 5. Just hit add, and it would all be done, and it's going to show up over here on day 5. So that's how you would take the boilerplate template and customize it for your office, or for your agent, or however.
And unfortunately, that is time consuming.
Terribly, yeah.
Yeah, and I think
Gwen, would you be able to, and I'll send you a reminder email, but would you be able to share with me, so I can share with the gang, your checklist so that we can have sort of a guide to go by as
Mhm.
they make their own?
Absolutely, and I hope that it gets really adopted. I created it the last couple of months, and it's actually going under review at our managers meeting for CNY tomorrow. Once it's finalized, so Jennifer, I won't get it to you in the next couple of days. I'll get you a good finished product in the next week or so. How's that? Great.
I will say though, once an agent has this done, it's very flawless going forward.
Liz, I agree 100%. And in these classes over the last couple of years that Kathy and I have been doing, the experienced agents that maybe we would think wouldn't take the time, if we can convince them that as they build their business, it might be worth it if they want to grow maybe into a team, and then they'll have the way they want their business done here in a checklist to the way they want to see their buyer agents on their team doing things. It would be the ultimate. So it keeps everybody on point.
And then really, if you get this streamlined, then the calendar makes sense when you're looking at the calendar. Because right now, if you don't, and you have these people in this progress, the calendar is not going to make sense. You're just going to ignore the calendar and move on. So, if you put it so that I've got a CMA I've got to do, or I've got to do something else, yeah, that's the best thing. Yeah.
So, Kathy just referenced the calendar. So now all of these tasks will then show up on your calendar once you assign it to, to a particular client or somebody in your, the people in your sphere, and they will show up on here. You can take this as far as syncing with your phone calendar as well, so they'll show up on there. But if you are part of a larger team, you could share that calendar with multiple individuals, and all of those tasks would show up on the phone, and you could see how the tasks are getting checked off as they're being completed.
Mm-hmm. So Gwen, go back to the task manager, to engage settings again. Yeah. So if you notice, you've got the task manager, you've got further down is where you would set up your subscriptions. And if you click on the subscription, this will allow you to attach an email, and they can edit this email message as to why they're sending out the message to their people. I mean, so you can personalize it, make it sound like you. Right now, it sounds kind of automated, but it's a way to go ahead and do that. And then you can also click on the widget so that you can add it. I know a lot of us have it at the end of our emails and stuff, so you have a way to do that. All right. Notification emails, I'm not sure if that's the point, if you want to click on that. So this is where email news subscriptions and reports go out. So, keeping track, make sure that that's turned on. But it's just a way for your people to, you get notified when somebody unsubscribes, and you get your own weekly report going out.
I will tell you that the email notifications for your unsubscribes by default is on, so that when somebody unsubscribes. I believe it's done that way so that you could then maybe reach out to that contact and just say, was there something you didn't like about it? Should I change it up for the area? So it certainly alerts you that John Smith did that. The neighborhood news weekly report is actually toggled off, and I just turned mine on Friday. I didn't even know we had this report available to us. What's really nice about it is we can actually see the amount of opens, or the open percentage for all the folks you've got subscribed to neighborhood news. So I would suggest that you maybe toggle that on, because it's nice to know the usage of it.
Yeah. It keeps people going. Okay, so let's skip people in the calendar and go to goals right now. Gwen, right up there. So most of your agents should probably figure out how to set their goal. And again, they would do that by going up to, once they're on the screen, go up to the gear. And-
or even before then. So let's say that, you know, I say only, you know, 45, whatever, 48 days into 2021. There's a strong possibility that many agents have not logged in to Engage CRM yet this year, just based on the usage that we're seeing. If it's the first time that they've logged in, the very first thing that's going to pop up, or one of the first two things will pop up on their screen, is to set their goal, their annual goal for the year. So they can do it there. This is a way to do it if they want to modify their goal, or if they click through and didn't set it previously.
Right. Right.
So how you would do that is, once you're in goals, as Kathy said, you go over here to the gear again and click on sales volume goal, and you can set your goal for the year.
What's nice, you can look at your past years, review whatever was being done in the market. And people should realize is that they do not have to fill in all of this information. Here in Central New York, this is all pulled right from the MLS. So your CRM should be logged into your MLS with your number, your name, and however you get your feedback. So it's keeping track of your actives and your pendings, your prospects, and then all your closed transactions. What's nice about this is that it does give you a little bit of comparison between yourself and your office and your MLS. How are you comparing with other sales that they see going on? So it's sort of an interesting analytics out there for you. And, you know, and of course there are going to be glitches. Well, I sold a for sale by owner. What do I do? So you basically have to put the for sale by owner in as, you know, you have to enter it manually, and you'll have to just click through the zones, you know, active, pending, and then closed. And you just put it down as a one-sided flat fee that you got for a for sale by owner, and it'll end up showing up here. Okay. So that's another way to keep track of all that. So as people get familiar and used to this, that's how it all can represent their business, everything that they've been doing.
If they set their goal in January or in February, and hopefully it's before then, but yet they go gangbusters. You know, they sell that, you know, $2 million property that's going to really throw off their volume for the year. And to adjust it, they just go here, sales volume goal, and this is where they would go ahead and, you know, and alter it.
Yep. Okay.
And then just hit done, and it'll change it right there.
Right. So, I mean, it's a great way to keep track of your business and to see whether or not you're on target. And also, you know, it tells you, you got right there at a glance, you've got 31% of your business for the year conducted, 4 transactions, the average, you know, size of your transaction. So, I mean, it's really just keeping people informed. All right. Okay, so go back, hit the grayed out dashboard. And so we're back here. And go down to the sales flow. Let's pull that one up at the
I'll
front.
move it right to the top.
Yeah. So if you notice, marketing, prospects, activities, and pending. So as you enter people into the system, they will eventually show up here. And the way they show up here is by working people through the system. And you're going to get people sent into this system strictly by your emails and your
Open to close.
Real Scout, all of that, and even your iPhone, you know, or your Android. Some of these people will come over. So yeah, Gwen, go ahead and hit overview.
While that's spinning up, well, that actually happened pretty quickly. This is a lead tracks lead, so that's excellent that this just happened. But this gentleman reached out to me about you know, one of my active listings, and it actually codes it or groups him in what lead or how he ended up in, you know, in my contacts.
Great. So basically, you know, there are tutorials on all of this, but basically what you want to do is to click on one of these people and start figuring out who are they and what are they, okay? So this person, is he gonna make him a client or a non-client? And if you click on client, Gwen has three options. It's a quality lead that he just wants to market to, or is this a seller or a buyer prospect? Or he could leave it as nothing, just uncategorized and go back, right? Or if you hit non-client, now you got people who are either personal friends, collaborator, lawyer, home inspector, whatever, or you can remove them from Engage totally. But they don't really disappear off of Engage. They go into another side file where you can eventually bring them back should they become an active client. So if he was to remove them, that would be fine, but he could bring them back at any time. And the way you would get to it is, yeah. I think you have to.
I kind of forget how you do it. I think
Well,
you may,
you have to find a person that you've actually removed. No, if, let's see, have you removed anybody?
I'm sure I have, but I don't. I
Oh,
don't.
I know, go down to my people, Under people, go down to my people. And now see if you can go over to the gear. Manage removed. So from here, he can take any one of these people and he could restore them back into the system at any time. All right. And you know, it's great because nobody's lost. But the thing does take an awful lot. I mean, I got a person who I rented an Airbnb in Paris from 3 years ago, and they're in my Engage CRM. So I just like remove them. But yeah, I mean, there are going to be people that are just going to show up that you're not wanting them there. And I would just say, just put them in the side file. They're off to the side, not going to bother you.
So once you select them as a client and then choose whichever they are, they will end up then back in your sales flow
Mhm.
right here. But
Yeah.
also out on your dashboard, they will show up here as well.
Yeah. So your numbers will increase as you're marketing to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20 people. But then you may only have like really out of those 20 people, maybe only 5 prospects, maybe 2 are actively buying or they've listed. And maybe you have, 3 things that have gone into pending stage. You got closings coming up. So this is helping you to keep track of everything. Gwen, you didn't have anybody in particular. I always use myself as a sample. If you go back to my people.
Kathy, is there a way to delete more than one person at a time? Like from many people that have never been in here.
There is.
Yes, right
Right.
here.
Select them
And then what was-
and then remove.
Get rid of mom and dad.
Perfect.
Well,
thank
they're
you.
just at the top of the list.
So yes, so you can remove them. You can edit your groups if you have here, and this is where you would start groups.
But you could also add them to a campaign,
Sure.
your listing announcements, or your neighborhood news as well. So this is a way to do multiple people at one time.
Yeah. And also, if you hit the edit groups thing, that is where you would create another group. You can create groups here. You can create a new one. Maybe it's your, bingo club or whatever. You can just basically add it and it becomes another group that you've got available. All right.
Could I put you, Kathy, into a bingo group and into a manager group? Can you?
Yes.
Groups?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
People can be in multiple groups. Yeah. And then this is good for when you do campaigns. You may be wanting to send something out specifically to your agents in the office, or then again, you might want to be sending something out to people who are, your buyers and your past sellers or something like that. So the groups are important.
And it also, so let's say you've got a new contact and you add them to a specific group that is receiving that particular campaign. It will automatically put them into that group and start them right there with all of those emails immediately. So they They never skip a beat, if you will.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah.
I have a
and-
quick question.
Yeah.
So if they're in multiple groups, do they get multiple neighborhood news?
No. Somehow the program reads that it's the same person, and we asked that question and they said, no, it goes out once. Now, you may want to create a group, and I've done things with, my name, my full name, my maiden name, whatever, but I didn't test that. So that might be something to test if I get, because it's one email.
I do think they recognize the email address. So if you had, for whatever reason, you put in a husband and wife as one contact, that's a bad example. But if, yeah, like Kathy's saying, if you've got a maiden name and then a married name, it does recognize the email address and will only send the one email.
So Gwen, what if you were to click on mom and dad and just see what it brings you to, the screen? So again, it's bringing you back to this screen. And from here is where Gwen would have added a subscription down here. And when you add a neighborhood news subscription, there are two ways, and I gave you extensive notes on that. We've all are familiar with the quick custom one, which is just their area of interest. If they came over from open to close, the zip code would have been whatever that listing was in. But the customized one lets you do a greater in-depth search for it, location, price, bedrooms, baths, property type, and you can even do school search, or you could do a map.
You can do a map. So, I mean, I live up here in Cowtown. So, I mean, we may have 30 square miles for one zip code or even more. So, I mean, that could encompass, in fact, and it does encompass 4 different school districts at one time, but they may only want to be in one school district or only want to, receive one neighborhood news. So you can, outline that school district and only send pertinent information.
Mhm, mhm. Gwen, would you mind if we took mom and dad and we kind of showed how you transfer people from one group through?
Not at all.
Okay, so go back to, go back to mom and dad. Okay, just, I guess, click on either one of them.
I'd like to pick the one that's actually got their email address. Well, it's pretty interesting that my mom and dad are number 1 and then my in-laws are number 2.
Okay, so in this one, let's just say make them a client for maybe make them a seller or a buyer prospect, whichever one. Okay, so if you notice, he moved out of the marketing realm and now they're in as a prospect. And that's what I'm saying is that now if you pull down the screen, you will see all of the tasks, which hopefully you had set up to be the way you wanted it to conduct your business. And that's where these tasks are all showing up. You can still add a task if you needed to, and you can basically see what the activities are. And these things are going to show up on the calendar. Okay. You can edit these things as done. You can edit this task and you could do other things, and you could schedule the actual meeting by putting it on your calendar. We're going to meet Saturday or something like that. So this is where it's going to have to reflect how they really do their business. And, this is the in-depth part of it. Now, if he'd been working with them for 5 or 6 months, he can now move them up into, it says delete or deactivate. He just wants to move. So he's going to click on the move right there. And it says confirming, do you want to move them forward? So now they are in an active, because he's probably getting ready to show them houses, get out and about with them. They are a buyer. So again, you've got a series of activities that are going to be listed. You've got 13 tasks listed here. And so once he gets through all these tasks, they bought a house, they've got the contract, it's been approved. So now he's going to click on the move, and yes, and the estimated closing date.
I should have clicked.
That's fine, you can add it here. So he could add the MLS number for whatever house it is that they were buying. He can then go down and give what the actual percentages that he's making on this transaction, either 3, 6, 8, whatever, or a flat fee. And basically now he would have that in as a transaction. And once the MLS confirms that that is a sale that has happened, Gwen would see this sale represented in his goals. It would show Janet and Jim at whatever the price tag is that they bought. So this is where, people need to feel comfortable moving their people along. It doesn't move unless you physically move it along to the next zone.
As Kathy mentioned when she was talking about the goals, and then potentially not seeing all of the close there if it was a for sale by owner. This is how you would, say Jim and Janet bought a for sale by owner, you would add them in as a client if they weren't already, work them through the process, and then you just have to toggle this non-MLS over here, and it will add it to that list when it in fact closes.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Can an agent keep track of their monetary? I mean, what are they making each transaction, and does it tally that and show them for the year? Because that agents want that.
It gives them the gross commission, yes, earned. So Gwen, go to your goals for just a sec.
This is new to me.
So go to your sales, go to the closed transactions, pull this screen down.
I'm on the closed oh, pull it down.
So here it's telling them, it's not going to break it down, but it's giving them the gross commission earned. So if you wanted that, if they wanted it to be more in line, no, I don't think it just.
No, that's not commission earned. That's the volume.
Yeah, that's just the volume.
Oh, it's just the volume.
Sorry, my sales are so little that they look like commission earned, but that's not the case.
What does your sales volume forecast say?
Jim, they actually don't. I've never seen that, and that's a great thing. Rich Levin, I don't know if you're familiar with Rich Levin. He used to have those same exact charts, and it would break it down one step further. So exactly what you're asking, there would be one more column on the end of it after the volume. And when it was working through all this, it would pull the data from the MLS of what the buyer's commission was, buyer agent commission was, and then compute it because you would already have inputted what your agent split was with the company. This, however, doesn't take it that far.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's something that it be a reason they might be more apt to use it, because what they care about is their dollar volume and how much are they making.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all. And they don't want to take the step. It wouldn't be that difficult. They could, it'd get them ballparked. But yeah, at the end of the day, I don't know how they would do it unless we could convince Moxie to, under your profile, maybe put a couple other things in there that it would do it. But that's a great suggestion. And I don't know who I would even address it with, but maybe that's something they could maybe add to this in some upgrade, to some 2.0. Yes.
Excuse me. If Jim or all of us put in the suggestion box at the front of everybody's GoHanna dashboard, there's the suggestion box button.
Okay.
Anything related, and be real specific, say this has to do with Engage CRM. Can we get it to do X? That feedback goes directly to Moxie.
Okay.
So don't ever hesitate to use that suggestion box, because they do get read every day and pushed out to the appropriate vendor. So I think that's a great suggestion.
Great idea, Jim, and let's please all do that.
Yeah, and another suggestion that I learned from an agent was that their CRM not only puts out, when you have to log into this program in order to see what your calendar is telling them that they have to do, their CRM sends them a text message delineating exactly what they have to do for the day. So that was another thing that I thought was a good point for us to ask Moxie to try and figure out if we could get text notifications, on our calendar events. All
Kathy,
right.
we're on about slide 50, the best I can tell. And some of this is going through what the subscriptions look like. I want to know what everybody, what their comfort level is with being able to walk through the steps of neighborhood news and setting up subscriptions. Does everybody know how to do that, or would you like us to?
No, go back to that. So go back to my people. And you can pick Jim or mom and dad,
I'm going to pick a couple.
whatever. And add to neighborhood news.
Can do a quick one.
Mhm. So just very quickly, you just would add the zip code that they are looking in. And that's done. So that's very easy and simple to do.
I sure wish I remembered who I just did that to. That's all right. I can figure it out.
When you are on actually the people directly, because did it allow you to do, well, you can go down here, and then the other subscription is the listing. And this is something you have to delineate. It's not all listings in the MLS that are available. It is just basically the agent's own just listed or just solds. So it's very limited. And why would you just send out that? Well, just to let people know you're still working. You probably are setting up a search for them in Real Scout, hopefully, or in your MLS system, and they're getting bombarded with all kinds of listings there. But this is just a way to keep in touch with people. This is great for when you do a CMA for somebody in November, and they say, great, fine, I'll contact you when I get back in town in May. And you're like, well, what the hell do I do now? Well, this is what you do. You hook them up with a listing announcement and the neighborhood news, and this is what feeds them information, all branded to that agent through December to April. So that's why these are really important.
Is everybody receiving a neighborhood news? Have they set themselves up for their own zip code?
Yeah, it's not a bad thing to do to see what it looks like.
Yeah, I usually demonstrate it, but I mean, we've had this enough now, or long enough now, that everybody should know what it looks like. And something that I always like to point out is I go right to one of the listings as if I was a consumer and click on it. And over on the right hand side, it'll say contact agent for more information. Click on that and then hit send. And I always make sure I have my volume turned up on the computer, because I like to hear it go ding, and to show the agent how quickly the lead will then come through. And not only that it comes directly to them. It doesn't go, make a pit stop anywhere before it lands on them. I know that's a concern in some, for some agents. For a variety of reasons, but this doesn't do that. It goes right directly to the agent, regardless if it's their listing or not. It'll be branded and look as though it's their listing, but certainly is in compliance and gives credit for that listing with the listing broker right on that listing information, without giving that broker's information, contact information.
Right. So it's a great way to keep people abreast of actives or solds in a specific zip code. Gwen, do you want to move on over to campaigns?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So the campaign, so you've got your people in, they're there, and now you want to figure out, what do I do with them? So basically, we're going to click on the little blue tab up there that says add from the library. And right now, I think there's about 16 or so campaigns that are available that you can do, anything from, holiday cards, year-round distribution for those. You can do monthly newsletter. There's a seasonal, just 4 times out newsletter. So, I mean, you just have to choose what you want. Toward the bottom of the list are some pretty interesting things right there. The buyer warm prospect, new lead prospect. The new lead prospect was the one that the Manly's agent here in town actually clicked on and said that he had this one opened and ready to go to a number of people that come into his CRM. He just hooks them up to neighborhood news and this. And I think if you click on preview, Glenn, for the new lead one, yeah, it's like just a nice announcement letter or something like that. It's just one way to stay in touch with people. Go back out. We're just
So what I did is I clicked on that and then I added it, I added it to my campaigns. So it automatically dumps them in a waiting setup. So here it is. So then what I would want to do is go ahead and edit it. And I want it to start immediately when I have a new lead come in.
Mhm.
And it triggers once the new lead comes in and it goes out immediately. You don't have to do anything to it.
Mhm. Right. Which is good.
Then you have to hit save.
Do we get copies of the things that go out to the clients?
Yes, I think you get notification that something went out. Yes.
Do you know if we actually get a copy of it or just that something went out?
You wouldn't get a copy of the new the new contact campaign, but if you're added, what I would recommend you do is you add yourself into every group that you have set up, and then anytime something goes out, whether it's a monthly newsletter, a holiday greet, whatever it is, then you will receive it, but it doesn't copy you otherwise.
Mhm.
Then you just have to do one more step, and that's to go ahead and hit run campaign. I'm not going to do that because I already have it running and I don't want duplicates going out. But after you hit run campaign, it will then show up in your runnings, I hope. And right there it is.
Mhm. And then if Gwen clicks on just the new lead, just the title of it, even right from here, if he just wanted to manually input somebody who he think got overlooked or just add them he can add any person at any time right there from his, so maybe it isn't somebody who new came into the system. They've been in his CRM and he just now wants to add them in. So he could add anyone in there. Okay.
But here you can see this gentleman reached out to me over the weekend about a particular listing that I have. And when it came in, it automatically set him up for this because I set this up after Hobie's help me, the Friday thing we had.
Town hall.
That's it. And I thought it was a wonderful idea. So I went ahead and set it right up. And immediately this weekend, a new lead came in and it must have worked because he opened it up because the open rate is 100%.
Right.
So I recommend that everybody, including ourselves, go in and set this up.
Mhm. And like we said, if you have any campaigns running, if you hit the back, any other campaigns running, you can add people into those running campaigns at any time. So if Gwen had the other program running, I have one that's on sellers recent closing or buyers recent closing. You can keep that up and running, and each and every time you have a closing, you just have to add that person into that, and it's a series of maybe 6 emails that go out to them, and you know, they get the email from the date you added them to the program.
I like Liz's suggestion, or getting back to, you know, whether you get a copy of what's going out. You just, when you click on that particular campaign, you could click add people here, and then go ahead and click, not all people, but you would just find yourself wherever you are in whatever group. I don't think you can do, yeah, you would just select yourself and then hit add, and then you would be included in that group as well, just to see what goes out. This is a bad example because it's only the, you know, that short new lead campaign. But if you were part of the, a holiday one, you would get it right alongside everybody else.
Go back to the library. If you can maybe pull it down. I think you pull all the way down. Okay. Or I hit me, maybe, okay. Go to add from library. So the example that's in the program, if you pull down to the recently closed buyer one, go all the way down to the bottom. I think it's down there. Okay, recent closed buyer, if you hit preview or hit preview, basically it's only like 6 emails that go out. So you could set up this campaign and start it running. And anybody that you add into this running campaign, like I said, will get the first email from the day you send this, get them signed up into it. So you could have 10 people that are already in this, and they could be at any point of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 emails going out to them. And it's not bad. It's just telling them, thanks for working with me. Keep me in mind for referral. Can I get a testimonial from you? And then it's just a couple other follow-ups saying hello. So, I mean, these are simple, set it and forget it. The whole thing that we've all been talking about. It's totally fine. And some people unsubscribe from this after you've had a, sale or a closing with somebody. That's fine. But I find that most people just sort of keep in touch. It's not bugging them too long. From this screen, also, you're able to do neighborhood news. So you could take neighborhood news and set people up right from there. And again, it would take you into all of them. And the auto mail postcards takes you to Quantum Digital, which is a purchased snail mail card campaign. So if you wanted to click on go to Quantum.
Before I do, Jennifer, do you guys utilize? I know we used to have it at Realty USA, so I'm thinking that you folks have Quantum Digital in the Capital Region. Is that true?
We still do.
Okay.
Right
Fair
now.
enough. Oh,
Right now. Right.
okay. So I was going to skip over it if you weren't utilizing it in the Capital Region. I didn't want to go into something or open up a can of worms, if you will.
Right. So this is just if people want to purchase their own, basically snail mail campaigns. And it takes you right to the Quantum Digital campaigns pages, and you've got all kinds of things you can select, and you can set up your mailing. So it's just, another avenue for staying in touch with people. Some people don't have email. So, okay, this is the way you stay in touch with them. And you can scroll down through here. If you take the screen down, you can see there's lots and lots of different types of programs out there that you could choose from. And one thing I tell people is that once you set this up, the thing about this is nice, it has the QRL code that you have there, the visual that people can click on, and it takes them to a mini CMA kind of thing. And you will get notification that these people have gone one step further. And I tell people, make sure you come over here to on the left-hand side where it says leads and responses. So you can see who's been coming into your program, if you send something out. you guys, I mean, it's just, it goes on for forever.
Well,
It's just-
this is, I mean, we got through all of it. That's everything. We've touched on every topic.
But it is labor intensive in terms of people trying to get the tasks set up for what they want and how they conduct their business, because that's the most important aspect of it.
We highly recommend that you do not try to do what we did today with an agent, because they will never, learning from experience, they'll walk out of the room and they'll never, they won't utilize it. They may utilize the neighborhood news, but they just won't. It's too overwhelming to go through all of this at one time. Break it up into chunks. And again, that was a huge takeaway from Friday's town hall, is I think everybody, management wise is realizing that some of these things are so complex that if we don't start breaking them up into little chunks, the utilization is going to be what we currently have. And we need to change that, because we do have the best tools in the business, and there's only going to be one way that we get folks to use them. And that's to bring it to them, but bring it to them in a way that they can easily digest and implement.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. When I'll just to piggyback on that, don't forget about the education YouTube channel, because there are teeny tiny sound bites of different pieces and parts of Engage CRM there.
And don't forget about, and Jennifer and Natalie's, the snippets that you folks are doing, the half hours, those are some of the most enjoyable and educational little snippets. Those are exactly what we really need. And hopefully you start to see you are seeing some of the Northern and Central New York folks on that, because we've really been pushing them in our meetings, because they're great. So keep up the good work there.
Right, and people can get through this on their own, with, you guys taking them step by step, which is the way to go through it. Yeah.
Yep, and I think like Gwen and Kathy both said, we need to get in there and put ourselves in and just start messing around with it ourselves. It's very robust. I'm actually excited after hearing you two, like, oh, maybe I can do this.
You absolutely can. And Tony Prince Friday said it exactly correct. You can try to break this and use it and try to break it. You cannot break it. So just dive in there and start using bits and pieces.
Right. And if you notice, Gwen's people have finally showed up as in actives in his sales flow there. Mom and Dad.
They'll be so pleased.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, this was great. Does anybody have any questions before I turn off the recording? Everybody's saying thank you in the chat to you guys. This was wonderful that you both took the time out of your very busy schedules to do.
Yeah, thank you for having us, and good luck. And any questions, feel free to reach out to us.
Great. Thanks so much, you two. And thanks everybody for taking time out. This was great. Took an hour and less than 20 minutes. So I appreciate everybody's time. This will be recorded, and I'll have Natalie put it up on the YouTube channel for managers to be able to watch again.
Excellent. You're welcome.
Great. Thank you.